Hello and welcome to Gradient's weekly roundup of key business and financial developments in Sri Lanka for the week ending 27th May 2022. I'm Nishani and here are the top stories for this week. Debt restructuring advisors picked as Sri Lanka goes into default. World Bank denies a new lending until adequate macroeconomic policy is in place. Ranil Wickremesinghe appointed Finance Minister. Central Bank outlines new measures to support banking sector. Fuel prices significantly rise, reverts to pricing formula. We will also briefly look at other notable news that made it across to our news desk and wrap up with a capital markets update. On Tuesday, the Sri Lankan government selected Lazard and Clifford Chance as financial and legal advisors to assist in the country's IMF negotiations and to restructure its $51 billion external debt. Such services are to cost $5.6 million and will be for 3 months. Last week, the country officially fell into debt default as the 30-day grace period on interest payments of $78 million elapsed without settlement. On Wednesday, the World Bank issued a statement clarifying its engagement with Sri Lanka, commenting that media reports of offers of bridging finance or a new loan are not accurate. It said that until an adequate macroeconomic policy framework is in place, it does not intend to offer new financing to the country. However, the lending agency stated that it is repurposing resources from previously approved projects in Sri Lanka. This is to help with essential medicines, cash transfers to the poor and vulnerable, school meals, and to support farmers and small businesses. Also on Wednesday, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe was sworn in as Minister of Finance, Economic Stability and National Policies. The position was left vacant following the resignation of former Finance Minister Ali Sabri. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka implemented a series of measures to support the banking sector with the stated objective of facilitating effective financial intermediation and flow of credit to the economy whilst ensuring the soundness of the banking sector. Among the key measures are maintaining licensed banks' capital conservation buffer at 2.5%, whilst the deadline to meet the enhanced minimum capital requirement is extended to the 31st of December 2023. Further, given recent rate hikes, banks can stagger unrealized mark to market loss on rupee-denominated government securities until the second quarter of 2024. Moreover, banks are now able to maintain liquidity coverage ratio and net stable funding ratio at not lower than 90% up to September 2022. On Tuesday, CPETCO and LIOC significantly increased its retail selling prices of fuel for the second time in 3 weeks. CPETCO pump prices of petrol 92 octane rose by 82 rupees, whilst Lanka Auto diesel prices rose by 111 rupees. According to Kanchana Wijesekara, Minister of Power and Energy, price adjustments were based on a formula and is to be applied fortnightly or monthly. In other news, island-wide inflation in April reached a record high. The National Consumer Price Index rose 33.8% year-on-year, up significantly from 21.5% a month earlier. Food inflation accelerated 45.1% year-on-year, whilst prices of the non-food group grew 23.9%. Workers' remittances in April plunged to $249 million, down 52% from a year earlier. This is despite an over 80% depreciation in the Sri Lankan rupee since it was floated in mid-March. Remittances have been falling since June 2021 as migrants use informal channels which offer a higher rate on the dollar. According to the Export Development Board, Sri Lanka's merchandise exports in April grew to $915.3 million, up 11.9% from a year earlier. However, this is the first time in 10 months it had fallen below the $1 billion mark. Apparel and textiles increased 22% to 445.8 million, whilst tea exports grew slightly to 80 million. Export earnings from rubber and rubber finished products increased to 71.3 million, and coconut-based exports rose to 70.7 million. Now let's take a look at the weekly movement of the All Share Price Index and the S&P SL20 Index at the Colombo Stock Exchange. At the weekly Treasury bill auction held on Wednesday, yield on the 91-day maturities fell by approximately 42 basis points, whilst yields on the 182 and 364-day maturities eased down to 47 and 20 basis points respectively. 213 billion rupees worth bids were received, of which 90 billion rupees were accepted. And here's how the rupee performed against the dollar this week. In other market news, Roshaanr was appointed as the new chairman of the Colombo Stock Exchange, succeeding Dumit Fernando. Veerasekara will commence his duties from the 23rd of June. Sri Lanka's WSO2 completed a $93 million Series E growth funding round with the investment from InfoEdge, whilst STF Corporate Advisory secured a $15 million loan from the United States International Development Finance Corporation for the Colombo Stock Exchange listed BPPL Holdings. And that's a wrap for this week. Follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube for more updates on business and financial developments in Sri Lanka. Until we see you again next week, thank you for watching. Stay safe.